Hey, what's up, guys? In today's video, I want to talk about banning institutional investor buying single-family home. As you might know, that President Trump just signed the EO on that, which means it's effective as of now on those government organization-controlled properties. We have like a blanket ban. I think it needs to go through the Congress. But for example, foreclosed properties, it's not new actually. We used to have that rule where if it's like foreclosed, like HUD-owned properties, the investors cannot buy first in first 2 to 3 weeks. Only the primary homeowners could buy. We had those rules in like 2010, 11, 12, 13 maybe, but I haven't seen those because I haven't seen that many foreclosures in the recent years. I just read through the quickly the summary of the what he just signed. It doesn't define how many units that you have to own to become an institutional investor. The title is Stopping Wall Street from Competing with the Main Street Homebuyers. I personally think that this is very important measure because no matter what you hear from like mainstream media, there have been a lot of competing cash offers from big investors against just regular homebuyers. One obvious example would be when Zillow used to have that iBuyer program. They were willing to pay way more price, way higher price than even regular home buyers will pay for. I've actually experienced this in one of my listings where it was in Tigard, Oregon. The house didn't sell for the first 2 weeks, I think, and the Zillow came in and they offered higher than what buyers would make an offer for. I mean, because no buyers made any offers, but Zillow showed up and they paid the top dollars. And I was tracking that property after my seller sold it to Zillow. Zillow put it back on the market after maybe minor repairs, and it sat there for a little bit. If I remember correctly, they had to do a price cut in order to sell, which means they actually pay higher price than the fair market value at the time. I mean, it worked out great for my sellers because they got more than what fair market, will bring. The way I look at it is if Zillow actually was successful with the iBuyer program, they might be still doing it because it could have been profitable. But the point that I want to make here is that when there's a pile of cash offers you can write, it's so easy to take control over winning in multiple offer situations. Also, some might say, well, the number of institutional investor owning single family home is like the fraction. If you look at the whole country, it's less than 3%, 2%, whatever that number might be. But the reality is there's no exact metrics that shows how many are actually owned by a big Wall Street real estate investing firm or REITs or anything like it, because they can use doing business as. So they could have different LLC name underneath those big companies. So it's hard to really keep track of who owns what. Also, some of the opponent might say like this doesn't like lower the home price. They're partially right. It's not going to lower the price, but at least it's not going to accelerate that price increase because more competition, meaning higher price, right? The other people are saying, Donald Trump is getting a lot of credit for something that is not going to work because the home price is going to go up because of less rental inventory, and rental price will go up, and that will lead to home prices going up. But what they're missing is that there are different segments of the rental properties. So for example, in Portland, Oregon situation, like single family homes, the home size like 3 bedroom plus 2 baths, let's say about 1,400 square feet and up, those properties are very different than 1 or 2 bedroom apartments. So let me explain. So those single family homes, if they are actually bought by the single family, actual family with the kids or without kids, but actually families buying those properties, that means there's going to be less demand for those homes. Do you follow me? If there's a less demand, because those same group of people own instead of renting, which means there's going to be less demand on those single family home category rental, and there's going to be less supply because less investors, then price stabilizes it. So it's really the battle of who owns those single family homes. More institutional investors that is controlled by the Wall Street own more those single family homes, or regular American family actually own those more. The other opponents are arguing that the real problem is like a mom and pop investors, which indicates that it's smaller than institutional. And my understanding is that it's 100 homes or more turns into an institutional, and then less than 100 is like mom and pop investors. That I don't have a lot of data to argue what's right or what's wrong. I mean, obviously, if there are more small mom and pop investors who own, let's say, 50 homes per couple, that's a lot of single family homes, and I can see that as a problem. But again, guys, there's no clear data. How many are owned by who? How many people own what? Because at the tax, the ownership information can be manipulated at will. Now, hopefully, this executive order can prevent big companies buying up whole neighborhood, like 500 homes in Texas, Arizona, and those you will hear. I used to think that investing. I think I still think that investing in real estate is a great idea. But more and more, I see this big time investors just like eating up all the single family homes, and I see people not be able to really afford to buy a home. That makes me wanna promote that investing less and less. I'm more a proponent of the single family homes really owned by just family, regular family who live there as a primary, raise their kids, and be able to hold one asset at least. I know some may argue home is not an asset, but it is once it's paid off, and it gives you the option down the road when you own something. I stopped making those investors' point of view kind of videos because I think it's more important that we own more homes individually, just primary homes. Like I said, it's not going to drop the home price. It's not going to pop that bubble. Some say pop that bubble. The market is adjusting, uh, in small increment. It's not like big old crash. It's more of like 1% down, 2% down. It's been doing that for the last about 3 years since the interest rate doubled.